Commander Sarah Chen had been in the Zephyrian prison for 73 days when they brought in the neural disruptor. The device hummed with malevolent energy as the 3-meter-tall insectoid guards wheeled it into her cell. Its crystalline surface pulsed with bioluminescent patterns that hurt to look at directly. Dr. Vexetai, the prison's chief interrogator, followed behind with his characteristic clicking gait. "Human," Vexetai's translator rendered his chittering into cold mechanical words. "Your species continues to resist our occupation of your colony worlds. This ends today." Sarah looked up from where she sat cross-legged on the metal floor, her brown eyes meeting the alien's compound gaze without flinching. Her uniform was torn and stained, her black hair matted, but her posture remained straight. "Still trying to break me, Doc? I'm starting to think you enjoy our little chats." The Zephyrian's mandibles clicked in what Sarah had learned was irritation. Over the past months, they had tried everything. Pain amplifiers that made every nerve-ending scream, sensory deprivation chambers that drove most beings to madness within hours, and psychological warfare techniques perfected over millennia of conquest. Sarah had endured them all with a mixture of stubborn defiance and dark humor that seemed to genuinely confuse her captors. "The neural disruptor will map every pathway in your primitive brain," Vexetai explained as his assistants began connecting cables to the device. "It will isolate the neural clusters responsible for hope, determination, and what you humans call spirit. Then it will surgically remove them." Sarah watched the preparations with interest rather than fear. "You know, Doc, I've been thinking about something you said last week, about how humans are just another conquered species, no different from the others." "You are not," Vexetai replied curtly. "Your resistance is merely persistent." "See, that's where you're wrong." Sarah stood slowly, her movements fluid despite the gravity shackles around her ankles. "You've conquered 47 species across this galaxy. I've counted them from your boasts. But you know what's funny? None of them are still fighting you." The neural disruptor powered up with a low whine. Energy coursed through its crystalline matrix, and Sarah could feel her hair standing on end from the electromagnetic field. "The Altarians surrendered after we destroyed their moon," Vexetai said, his attention split between Sarah and the device calibrations. "The Corvin Collective submitted when we threatened to irradiate their spawn pools. The pattern is always the same. Calculate the cost of resistance, realize it exceeds the value of freedom, and submit." "Right," Sarah nodded. "Because that's logical. That's what any rational species would do." She paused, letting silence fill the cell except for the humming of alien machinery. "But humans aren't rational, are we?" The first tendrils of the neural disruptor reached into Sarah's mind like icy fingers. She could feel the alien technology mapping her brain, cataloging every synapse and connection. It was invasive and nauseating, but she had experienced worse during her military neural conditioning. "Your emotional centers are unusually developed," Vexetai observed, studying the readouts. "The neural pathways associated with what you call stubbornness are remarkably dense." Sarah laughed, the sound echoing off the metal walls. "You're looking in the wrong place, Doc." The neural probe pushed deeper, and Sarah felt the alien device encounter something it hadn't expected. Instead of the neat, organized brain patterns they had mapped in other species, Sarah's mind was a chaotic storm of interconnected thoughts, memories, and emotions. Every attempt to isolate her spirit led to dozens of other pathways. Memories of her childhood dog who never gave up chasing squirrels despite being 3-legged. Stories her grandmother told about ancestors who crossed oceans in wooden ships. The sound of her daughter's laughter, the weight of her oath to protect Earth's colonies. "This is impossible." Vexetai's chittering betrayed confusion. "The neural patterns are not isolated. Your determination appears to be distributed across your entire consciousness." "That's because you're thinking about this wrong," Sarah said, her voice steady even as the neural disruptor sent waves of disorientation through her skull. "You keep looking for the thing that makes humans fight. The spirit you want to break. But it's not a thing. It's everything." The machine's probes encountered Sarah's memory of the morning Earth's sky turned black with Zephyrian ships. Instead of despair, the pathway blazed with defiant fury. They found her recollection of watching her unit die on Kepler 442b, but it was intertwined with unshakable resolve to make their sacrifice meaningful. Every trauma, every loss, every moment of pain had been woven into an unbreakable tapestry of human stubbornness. "You see," Sarah continued as Vexthai frantically adjusted the machine's settings. You conquered 47 species by finding what they valued most and threatening to destroy it. But humans? We're already broken, Doc, every one of us. Life breaks us all the time. We lose people we love, we fail at things that matter, we watch our dreams crumble. The neural disruptor began to emit warning tones as it encountered feedback loops it couldn't process. Sarah's brain wasn't resisting the intrusion. It was overwhelming it with sheer complexity. But here's what you never understood. Sarah's voice grew stronger, more certain. Being broken doesn't make us weak. It makes us dangerous. Because when you've already lost everything once, you learn that you can survive losing it again, and again, and again. Sparks flew from the neural disruptor's control panel. The crystalline matrix cracked as incompatible neural patterns surged through its circuits. Vexthai stepped back, his compound eyes wide with something approaching fear. Every time you think you found our breaking point, we just adapt. Sarah smiled, and for the first time since her capture, it reached her eyes. Your mistake was thinking our spirit was something you could take away. But it's not something we have, it's something we choose. Every day, every moment. Even when, especially when, everything else is gone. The neural disruptor exploded in a shower of alien sparks and twisted metal. Alarms began blaring throughout the prison as emergency protocols engaged. In the sudden chaos as guards rushed to contain the malfunction, Sarah stood in her cell and felt something she hadn't experienced in 73 days. Hope. Not because she thought she might escape. The chances of that remained virtually zero. But because she had just taught the Zephyrian Empire something they had never encountered in their millennia of conquest. That some things cannot be broken because they were never whole to begin with. And some spirits cannot be conquered because they are forged in the furnace of defeat itself. As Vexthai fled the sparking ruins of his machine, Sarah sat back down on the metal floor, crossed her legs, and began planning her next act of defiance. After all, she had nothing but time, and humans had always been exceptionally good at making the best of impossible situations. Outside her cell, the Zephyrian Empire began to learn what it truly meant to fight an unbroken people.